You have been told a massive lie about building muscle. If you walk into any gym in the world right now, you will see people spending 2 solid hours lifting weights. They do 5 different exercises for their chest, 4 exercises for their back, endless curls for their arms, and they walk out completely exhausted, dripping in sweat, feeling like they just survived a war. They believe that because they are exhausted, they are going to build a massive amount of muscle. But if you look at those exact same people 1 year later, most of them look exactly the same. They have not gained any new muscle. They have just wasted hundreds of hours of their life. Why? Because they do not understand the absolute truth about human biology. What if I told you that staying in the gym for longer than 45 minutes is actually destroying your ability to grow muscle? What if I told you that a highly focused, extremely specific 30-minute weight training session is scientifically proven to trigger significantly more muscle growth than a 2-hour workout? In this video, I'm going to reveal exactly why the 30-minute workout is the ultimate secret for natural lifters. I will explain the biological hormones that secretly steal your muscle after the 45-minute mark. I will tell you exactly what exercises to do, how many times to lift the weight, how long to rest, and why doing less work actually forces your body to build more muscle. By the end of this, you will have a perfect, scientifically backed blueprint that has over an 80% guarantee of breaking your muscle-building plateau, saving you hours of time every single week.
Let us start with the biggest misunderstanding in fitness: how a muscle actually grows. Most people think that you build muscle while you are lifting weights. This is completely false. When you lift weights, you are doing the exact opposite. You are breaking the muscle down. You are causing tiny, microscopic tears in the muscle tissue. You are digging a hole. Muscle growth only happens after you leave the gym, when you are eating and sleeping. Your body heals those tiny tears and builds the muscle slightly bigger and stronger so it can handle the stress better next time. Think of it like digging a hole to plant a tree. You only need to dig the hole deep enough to fit the roots. If you stay in the yard for 2 hours digging a massive crater, you are not helping the tree. You are just making a massive hole that your body now has to spend all its energy trying to fill back up. When you train for 2 hours, you are digging a hole so deep that your body cannot recover from it. It spends all its time and food energy just trying to repair the extreme damage, leaving zero energy left over to actually build new muscle on top. But there's an even darker, more destructive reason why long workouts fail. It comes down to your hormones. Inside your body, there's a constant battle between 2 main hormones. One is called testosterone. This is your primary growth hormone. It is the builder. It takes the protein you eat and turns it into pure, hard muscle. The other hormone is called cortisol. This is a stress hormone. It is the destroyer. When your body is under severe physical stress, it releases cortisol. What does cortisol do? It breaks down your hard-earned muscle tissue and turns it into quick sugar for energy to keep you going. Here's the scientific fact that changes everything. When you start a heavy weight training session, your testosterone levels naturally rise. Your body gets ready to build. But right around the 40 to 45-minute mark of intense lifting, something terrible happens. Your testosterone levels drop off a cliff and your cortisol levels skyrocket. Your brain senses that you've been fighting gravity for too long. It thinks you're in physical danger. It triggers a survival response. It starts releasing mass amounts of cortisol to break down your muscle tissue to give you emergency energy. If you're still lifting weights at the 1 hour or 2 hour mark, you are literally exercising in a muscle-wasting state. You are breaking down muscle faster than you can ever rebuild it.
This is exactly why chemically enhanced bodybuilders, people taking illegal steroids, can train for 2 hours. The artificial drugs they inject keep their testosterone perfectly high and block their cortisol. They can train all day and still grow. But for over 95% of us, the natural lifters, the rules are entirely different.
If you do not have artificial drugs in your system, you must get in the gym, send a loud, powerful signal to your muscles to grow, and get out before the cortisol destroys your hard work. 30 minutes is the biological sweet spot. It is the perfect amount of time to push your muscles to their absolute limit while keeping your testosterone high and your cortisol at absolute zero. So how do we trigger maximum muscle growth in only 30 minutes? To understand this, you must understand a concept called junk volume. Most people fill their workouts with junk volume. Let's say a guy is doing a chest workout. He does 3 sets of bench press, then he does 3 sets of dumbbell presses, then 3 sets of cable flies, then 3 sets of push-ups. He thinks all of this work is making his chest grow, but science proves that only the first few highly challenging sets actually triggered the muscle growth. Everything he did after that was junk volume. It did not make the muscle grow any faster. It only made him more tired, increased his joint pain, and delayed his recovery. Muscle growth is essentially an on and off switch. Once you flip the switch, the muscle is going to grow. Doing more exercises for that same muscle does not flip the switch harder. The switch is already on. You just need to leave the gym and let it grow. In a 30-minute workout, we completely eliminate all junk volume. We are only going to perform the exact, highly effective sets required to flip the growth switch. To flip that switch, we rely on the single most important driver of muscle growth known to science. It is called mechanical tension. Mechanical tension is extremely simple to understand. It is the amount of heavy physical force your muscle has to produce to move a weight. If you lift a pink 1-pound dumbbell 50 times, your muscle gets tired, but the mechanical tension is very low. It will not grow. If you lift a heavy weight that you can only move 8 times, the mechanical tension is extremely high. Your muscle fibers are screaming for help. They realize they are not strong enough to handle this heavy weight, so they adapt. They grow bigger. But here is the absolute secret to making a 30-minute workout produce better results than a 2-hour workout. You must learn what an effective repetition is. Imagine you're lifting a weight for 10 repetitions. The first 5 reps are easy. They do not trigger any muscle growth at all. They are just preparing your body. Reps 6 and 7 start to feel heavy. Rep 8 is very hard. Rep 9 makes your arms shake. Rep 10 is an absolute agonizing struggle where your face turns red and the weight barely moves. Science shows that only those last 2 or 3 repetitions, the ones where the muscle is moving extremely slowly despite you pushing as hard as you can, are the effective reps. Those are the only repetitions that force the muscle to grow. People who train for 2 hours avoid those hard repetitions. They pace themselves. They stop their set when it starts to hurt because they know they still have an hour left in the gym. Because they never push to that point of absolute struggle, they never get any effective reps. They do a massive amount of easy work that yields 0 results.
In our 30-minute Blue Quit, we do the opposite. Because you know you are only going to be in the gym for 30 minutes, you can safely unleash 100% of your energy and focus. You are going to take your sets extremely close to failure. Failure is the exact moment where your muscle physically cannot lift the weight for 1 more repetition, even if your life depended on it, while keeping perfect form. When you push a muscle to complete failure, you recruit every single muscle fiber available. You trigger maximum mechanical tension. You flip the growth switch immediately. And because you did it with complete intensity, you do not need to do 5 different exercises for that muscle. You only need 1 or 2. Now, what exactly do you do during these 30 minutes? Who is this for, and what works best? This strategy works for natural men and women, beginners to advanced lifters who want to build dense, highly functional muscle. It works flawlessly for busy professionals who cannot spend their lives in a gym. But you cannot use just any exercise. You must use compound exercises. A compound exercise is a movement that forces multiple joints and several large muscle groups to work together at the exact same time. A barbell squat is a compound exercise. It works your lower back, your core, your glutes, your quadriceps, and your hamstrings all at once. A bicep curl is not a compound exercise. It is an isolation exercise. It only works one tiny muscle across one joint. If you only have 30 minutes to trigger total body muscle growth, you cannot waste your time isolating tiny muscles. You must choose exercises that give you the absolute highest return on your investment. The greatest compound exercises in human history are the squat, the deadlift, the barbell row, the pull-up, the bench press, and the overhead shoulder press. Let us build your absolute, scientifically guaranteed 30-minute blueprint. You are going to do this 3 or 4 times a week, never more than 4. Remember, your muscles grow on your rest days. Let's look at an upper body day. You walk into the gym or your home garage. You do not spend 15 minutes walking on a treadmill. That wastes energy. You simply do a few arm circles and then you go straight to your first exercise to warm up the specific muscles you are about to use. Exercise number 1, the incline dumbbell press. This builds your upper chest, your shoulders, and your triceps all at once. You take a very light weight and do 10 easy repetitions just to get blood into the joints. You rest for 1 minute, then you pick a slightly heavier weight and do 5 easy repetitions. You are now fully warmed up. This took 3 minutes. Now it is time for the magic. You are going to do exactly 2 working sets. A working set is an all-out war. You pick a heavy weight that you think you can lift about 8 to 10 times. You start lifting. Rep 7 is hard. Rep 8 is burning. Rep 9 is shaking. You fight with everything you have to push the weight up for rep 10. You try to lower it safely. You have reached failure. You rack the weight. The growth switch for your chest is now flipped on. But here's where people get confused. They think, if it's a 30-minute workout, I need to rush to the next exercise to keep my heart rate up. Absolutely not. That is the biggest mistake you can make. This is weight training for muscle growth, not a cardio class. If you rush, your heart and lungs will get tired, but your muscles will not have recovered enough to lift a heavy weight again. This means you will not be able to create high mechanical tension on the next set. You must sit down and rest for a full 2 to 3 minutes. I want your breathing to return to completely normal. I want your muscle battery to recharge. Once 3 minutes have passed, you pick up those heavy dumbbells again and do your second working set. You push it to absolute failure again. You might only get 7 or 8 repetitions this time because the muscle is fatigued. That is perfectly fine. The tension was high. You are now completely done with your chest for the day. No cable flies, no push-ups. You did 2 perfect sets. That took about 8 minutes. Exercise number 2, the barbell row or pull-ups. You do the exact same thing. 1 quick warm-up set, then 2 heavy, brutally hard working sets, taken all the way to failure. You rest for 2 to 3 minutes between sets. Your back is now completely stimulated to grow. You are 16 minutes into your workout. Exercise number 3, the overhead shoulder press. 2 heavy working sets to failure, resting 2 to 3 minutes in between. You are now at 24 minutes. If you have a few minutes left, you can choose 1 isolation exercise for a body part you really want to focus on. Maybe 1 set of heavy bicep curls. It has been exactly 30 minutes.
Your chest is destroyed. Your back is highly stimulated. Your shoulders are pumped. You have created an absolutely massive amount of mechanical tension. But because you are only at the 30-minute mark, your cortisol levels, the stress hormone that eats muscle, are still very low. Your testosterone is peaking. Your nervous system is not burned out. You walk out of the gym feeling energized, not destroyed. You go home, you eat a high-protein meal, and you sleep. Your body takes all that food and directly builds new muscle because the damage was highly targeted and perfectly dosed. But I must be completely truthful with you. The 30-minute method only works if you do not lie to yourself about your intensity. If you go to the gym, do 2 sets of an exercise, but you stop lifting when it just starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable, this method will completely fail you. To make this work, you must master the mind-muscle connection. When you are lifting the weight, you cannot just throw it up and let it drop. You must control it. Science shows that lowering the weight slowly, the eccentric phase of the movement, actually causes more muscle damage and triggers more muscle growth than lifting the weight up. Let us also talk about another critical element: progressive overload. If you do this perfect 30-minute workout today and you use 50 pounds on the bench press for 8 repetitions, your chest will grow. But if you come back next week and the next week and the next week and you still use 50 pounds for 8 reps, your body will completely stop growing. The human body is an adaptation machine. It only builds muscle when you force it to do something it has never done before. Every single time you walk into the gym, your only goal is to beat what you did last week by the smallest possible margin. If you lifted 50 pounds for 8 reps last week, today you must fight for 9 reps, or you put 52 pounds on the bar and fight for 8 reps. Even if you only add 1 single repetition to your entire 30-minute workout, that is a completely new stimulus. That forces the body to build more muscle tissue to prepare for the heavier weight next time. Now, you might be asking, what about my legs? What about the lower body? You apply the exact same formula on a different day. You dedicate 30 minutes to your lower body. Exercise 1. Barbell squats or leg presses. 1 warm-up set. 2 heavy, brutal working sets to complete failure. This takes 10 minutes. Exercise 2. Romanian deadlifts or hamstring curls. 2 working sets to failure. Rest 3 minutes in between. Exercise 3. Calf raises. 2 heavy sets to failure, pausing at the bottom of the stretch to eliminate the bounce. 30 minutes. Your legs will be completely heavily stimulated. You walk out. You must choose. Do you want to be the person who lives in the gym, constantly tired, constantly hurting their joints, dealing with high cortisol, and looking exactly the same year after year? Or do you want to be the highly efficient, smart lifter, the person who goes in with extreme focus, the person who understands that 3 brutal, perfect sets create far more mechanical tension than 20 lazy, junk volume sets? The 30-minute workout gives you your life back. It saves your joints, it balances your hormones, and it builds thick, dense, natural muscle tissue. Stop digging endless holes that your body cannot fill. Stop doing junk volume just to make yourself sweat. Walk into the gym, flip the growth switch with complete, total effort, and then walk out and let the muscle grow. The blueprint is in your hands. Now go execute it.